down economy, people tend to look for some villains, and many point to Wall Street and that famous line, you know, the line from the movie that bears the same name. Remember the ruthless character, Gordon Gekko, played by Michael Douglas. The line was, "Greed is good." Well, for nearly 2 weeks now, protesters, the famous, the anonymous, have been showing up in mass to say greed is not good. With that, here's Allison Cossack.
On day 11 of Occupy Wall Street, the number of protesters didn't appear to be growing, but their star power was.
I think that all change starts from the bottom up, and I think people have gotten tired of hearing the same little news quotes every day in and day out, and it's time for a new paradigm.
The protesters have descended on Lower Manhattan to express their outrage against the financial system they say is broken, but no one can agree on how to fix it.
Most people agree. You're right. The system isn't working for most average Americans. So that's what we want to focus on. What do we agree on? What do we as Americans agree on? What can we do about it?
Organizers say that lack of focus hasn't stopped the movement from growing, but it is fueling skepticism about their ultimate goal.
There are so many reforms Occupy Wall Street wants to see happen, and this sea of signs really gives you a good idea about how many different demands that they have.
It's usually summed up as social and economic reform.
But it's clearly a protest against corporate America and Wall Street, and yet it's a big corporation these protesters are relying on to get their message out.
You buy a computer from one of the most valuable companies in this country. Right. Apple, next to Exxon, is the most valuable company, so it sort of flies in the face of what you're sitting here for day after day.
I think that's a very good point, and it is true that this MAC is, represents the values that I'm not. What is the purple one? But I'm just one person, and 90% of my life is in the direction that I want to be.
One of hundreds who really believe in their cause, so much so they've traveled thousands of miles to be here.
It's a matter of working the same job for next to nothing for the rest of my life, or creating a system in which there is an opportunity for advancement.
Has your boss called you yet?
I called in. I told him there was a family emergency.
I think he's going to know the truth now.
I hope not.
All right, let's go to Allison and pick up where she left off at those demonstrations. I mean, I know the group here demonstrating, they're calling themselves Occupy Wall Street, but why? I mean, that's not really what's happening.
Well, the whole idea was to actually occupy Wall Street, but that's physically not even possible, because what's happened is there are these barricades that are literally all over the place here around the building where I am in, at the New York Stock Exchange, blocking people from coming anywhere near this place. So what they wound up doing is they're protesting a couple blocks away. So sure, I guess that's a plan B. But you know what? They're getting attention for it. You saw Susan Sarandon in there. Media mogul Russell Simmons, he also joined the protest today, saying that he wants to pay more taxes. And you know what? I also asked them, how long are you going to be out here? And they told me, you know what? We're going to be out here as long as it takes to see change in this country. And I told them, you're going to be here a while.
Well,